You're watching a video on how to eat an anti-inflammatory diet and why most people who think that they are eating healthy are doing it wrong and still driving the inflammation. Maybe you've tried dropping the gluten or the dairy and now meat, and all you're eating is a lettuce leaf for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you're still not getting the results. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the most common mistakes that people who think that they're eating an anti-inflammatory diet get wrong. My name is Dr. Forrest Sauer, a functional medicine practitioner who fixes the root cause of the problem. And I've seen thousands of clients thinking that they are eating and living an optimized lifestyle despite feeling depressed, having high blood pressure, having diabetes, feeling inflamed, feeling fatigued, and obviously something was broken and not working inside of their body. These symptoms, even though they're normal for Americans, should not be normal. And therefore, there was something that they were doing that did not know about that was wrong and causing their body to feel fat, sick, and depressed. And so I'm going to walk you through the most common things that I see clients struggle with when getting real results from their diet. Most people think that inflammation only comes from diet and the things that you eat. And they start cutting things out. One thing leads to the next. And now all of a sudden they're eating a dry salad and half an avocado for supper. And they feel exhausted. They're low in calories and they still don't feel optimized. What most people don't actually understand, and I hope that you do now understand, is that it's not about what you eat. It's how your body responds to the foods that you're eating. There is no one size fits all magic diet. And I'm going to walk you through exactly how you can start understanding what foods are helping your body and what foods are hurting your body. Let's break down the 5 most common drivers of inflammation, which means that we're going to have to play a little bit of detective on our health and ourselves, figuring out what's driving our inflammation inside of us to break that cycle. So let's go ahead and start off with the most common and work our way down to the least common that most people miss. Number 1 is food sensitivities, and most people get food sensitivities wrong, meaning they go ahead and they start dropping things like gluten because everybody now is gluten sensitive, or they think so. And so they go ahead and they eliminate gluten, but that really doesn't do it. And so then they go ahead and they remove dairy and they think, oh, this should fix this should fix everything that's going on. So because I removed gluten, I'm removing dairy, this should take care of my food sensitivities, but yet they're still inflamed, they're still tired, they still have the bags underneath their eyes, and they don't feel optimized. There's something else that's being missed. And so then they start thinking, well, maybe I need to drop meat. Maybe I need to become vegetarian. Maybe that's what I need to have out of my lifestyle. And so they go vegetarian, they try that, and they try it for 30 days. But one thing that they miss is that with a lot of gluten-free foods, there's other inflammatory ingredients in here. So if our whole reason for dropping gluten is to decrease inflammation, listen, just because a food is gluten-free or a dessert is gluten-free or the bread is gluten-free doesn't mean it's anti-inflammatory. Sometimes they still have processed oils in the gluten-free breads. A lot of times there's still corn, which is another common food sensitivity that we are seeing. Honestly, we rarely see people being sensitive to meat. If you eat meat and you don't feel well, it's usually because of low stomach acid, not because of the meat that you're eating. So this can lead to a lot of frustration with food sensitivities. People can drop the gluten, drop the dairy, drop the corn, soy, you name it, and they're still not getting results. Here's how we resolve that in our clinic. What we do is we bring people on a 60-day elimination diet. 60-day elimination diet, meaning we cut out the gluten, we cut out the corn, the soy, the dairy, the sugar, and we take all of this together and we take that full 60 days so that way your body has time to get the inflammation out of the body. If you only take 7 days on an anti-inflammatory diet, I'm going to be real with you. It's not enough time to get the inflammation out. Oftentimes, it takes 1 or 2 months or even longer to get the inflammation out. So if you want the inflammation out of your body, oftentimes it does take that 60 days. Now, here's also another trick that we use with our clients is when you're adding the foods back in, here's how to prevent ending up like everybody else where they add all the food back in and they still have no idea what their body is sensitive to. Because of how your immune system responds to sensitivities, let's go ahead and say that you're going to add gluten back in to begin with. So the first thing that you're going to add in is gluten after 60 days. How you want to do this correctly is what I call a 3x3. For 3 days, you want to consume gluten 3 times that day. You want to have gluten for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This is going to give your immune system enough time to be exposed to enough gluten so that way you know if it's an actual problem or not. So how do you know if it's a problem? If the inflammation symptoms return. If you have a stuffy nose, if you're feeling tired, if you have brain fog, if you notice constipation or diarrhea, any of those symptoms returning during those first 3 days, you know it's a problem. Now, if you go and eat gluten after a 60-day elimination and you have it for breakfast and then by lunchtime you're like, man, I have massive brain fog. I've already visited the bathroom 3 times today. I am not going to make it for the next 3 days. Listen, some people are more sensitive to others. And if you notice responses right away, don't keep eating it. You know it's a problem. And that means that your body is not receptive to gluten. It can't handle it. So the 3x3 is what most people I see miss when it comes to food sensitivities. And it is paramount. It is so important for you to understand and do this correctly. Otherwise, you're going to start eating pizza and a burger and eat the fries, feel terrible. But because you've reintroduced 3 things all at once, you have no idea what your actual trigger and food sensitivity is. Now, the second thing that drives inflammation that most people don't take seriously enough is the blood sugar swings. So it is your blood sugar. And this applies to people who have diabetes, type 1 and type 2. This goes to people who have pre-diabetes and people who are insulin resistant. So blood sugar spikes and swings will actually drive inflammation. So if you're a diabetic, either type 1 or type 2, pre-diabetic or are insulin resistant, this is going to drive your inflammation up because it is very stressful on the body to deal with what I call the roller coaster of your blood sugar. If this is your blood sugar and it's constantly going up and down just like a roller coaster all the live long day, this is going to drive inflammation with every single fluctuation because it's very stressful on the body to try to manage that blood sugar. Now, the third thing that we see drive inflammation is processed oils, seed oils. This has been in the news and very popular. However, people don't truly understand, most people don't truly understand how much processed oils they're actually eating. If you look at the back of a box of food, it's probably going to have canola oil, soybean oil, vegetable oil, cottonseed oil. All of these are processed oils that we have seen drive tremendous amounts of inflammation in people's bodies that is going to prevent them from losing weight, have them keep the brain fog, feeling exhausted, and feeling stuck in their health. So processed oils, what we have seen, are a huge source of actually driving inflammation. And the best way to decrease inflammation with processed oils is just to simply not eat it. And the fourth thing that drives inflammation almost more than anything else is glyphosate. You won't find it as an ingredient source on the box because it doesn't have to be there because it's not put in the box themselves. It's sprayed on the food ever before getting into the factory. Now, this glyphosate, or Roundup, lands on the plants and it is a known neurotoxin. It destroys your gut and only creates massive amounts of irritable bowel syndrome. When you have constant exposure to the glyphosate and Roundup, it's going to destroy your immune system and increase your inflammation. Now, the fifth most common thing that we see in our clinic drive inflammation is an actual gut infection. And I'm not talking about parasites. We don't see a lot of parasitic infections. We test for them. Absolutely. We just don't see it a lot. What we see more commonly is a chronic, long-standing bacterial or viral infection like H. pylori or C. difficile. And it's because it's not being diagnosed, not being tested for by your medical doctor or by the healthcare system. It goes unaddressed. And these hidden gut infections will plague you if you're living a perfect lifestyle. You're eating all the right foods, you're drinking all the right things, you're taking all the right supplements, you're working out, but you still don't see results. It can be the thing that's standing in your way of actually getting the healing and decreasing your inflammation. So test for what hidden gut infection that you might have first, and then you know how to fix it. And this reminds me of a client that I had where her name was Becky. She was in her early 30s and she was doing all the right things. She ate the right amount of calories. She had cleaned up her diet. She had eliminated some of the food sensitivities. She was going to see her doctor, exercising 5 times a week, and still she was exhausted. Every time she ate, she felt nauseous and oftentimes vomited. She was losing weight despite her best efforts of actually trying to gain weight and feeling malnourished. She wasn't getting results or answers from her medical doctor. And it wasn't until we actually did the proper lab testing, discovered what her hidden drivers of inflammation were, that actually she started reversing her symptoms. Now she no longer feels nauseous. She's able to maintain a healthy weight. And most importantly, get and maintain her energy back because she's actually feeding her body the right foods, and then her body is converting that into energy because there's no more inflammation that's standing in the way of her and her quality of life. And you might be thinking, Doc, this all sounds way too confusing. I'm just going to take some turmeric and fish oil and eat what I want. You cannot out supplement a sick diet. I've tried it myself early on in my own health journey. I've had a lot of clients try it. Trust me, it just simply doesn't work. You, yes, need to use supplementation to help out with decreasing inflammation. But if you only do that and you don't address your lifestyle, you're going to end up being disappointed, which is where I think a lot of people end up feeling disappointed in trying to get results despite their best efforts. But because they don't have their lifestyle, their diet really dialed in, they end up feeling like they're on a vicious cycle. So here's what you need to do for the 5 things to start addressing the root cause of your inflammation. Number 1, identify your triggers. Are you sensitive to gluten, dairy, corn, or all 3 at the same time? Balance out your plate. Yes, get lots of green veggies, but also get lots of healthy fats in there. Get some fruit in there. Get some meat in there, so that way you feel satiated and it gets rid of those cravings that might be plaguing you. Also, fix the gut. Yes, eat anti-inflammatory, but if you have a hidden gut infection, we need to deal with that if we're going to get lifelong results. Completely abandon industrial seed oils, the vegetable oil, the processed oil, the cottonseed oil, the soybean oil. Get those out of your life and replace them with olive oil, avocado oil, ghee, coconut oil. Get those fats back into your body. It's going to help balance out your blood sugar and decrease the sugar cravings. And also support your liver with proper detoxification. If you have a massive amount of inflammation inside of your body, it only gets out through your gut and your liver. So by supporting your liver, it's going to help get that inflammation out. And the most valuable thing that I can encourage you to do is to relax. You do not have to be perfect. We obviously have to be better than what we're doing right now. Otherwise, we wouldn't be watching this video. So those are the 5 things that we use in our clinic to help rapidly decrease inflammation as fast as possible. If you found this video helpful, give us a like and subscribe, and comment below about what is your best hack at decreasing inflammation as fast as possible. My name is Dr. Forrest Sauer, and I'll chat with you soon.